Trust the process. Pain is power. All great things take time. I am unbreakable. Unbreakable.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Unbreakables podcast, episode 4. I am your host, Jay, and today we have a very special guest. In the bodybuilding industry, he is known as themind, with 72 show wins under his belt, winning Mr. Universe in 1989 to be in the top contest preparation to date. Please help me welcome my friend, the legend, Milos Sarcev?
Sarcev.
So that was tough. I asked Jenny prior, I'm like, how do I pronounce it? I know it's a tough one.
Yeah, it's super tough. Actually, when I started competing, nobody can pronounce my name correctly, so I just accepted anything. It's Milos, but we have a little V on top of S, which is pronounced like SH, Milos. And many European guys, Czechoslovakian, Russian or Serbian, it's a common name. Last name you probably can't even pronounce Sarcev.
It was hard. I'm like, is it silent? No.
Yeah, but thank you for introduction. I have to correct you. I didn't win 72 shows. I competed in 72 pro shows.
72 competed.
Yeah,
Okay.
I competed actually in 110 shows and 72 are professional. So at one point I had a record.
Ooh.
Nowadays, Dexter Jackson, who is competing at the age of 50, surpassed me, so I no longer have that record. But that's one of the things I was proud of back in the day, because most of the guys are competing once, twice a year, and I decided to do every contest that was organized. So once I turned professional, I found it's my job to compete.
Absolutely.
So if it's contests anywhere organized, I have to go.
You took on every opportunity.
Yes, and I really don't understand why others didn't do it. In the late 90s, Chris Cormier and Dexter Jackson, they were saying, okay, we're going to do the Milos thing. And what was Milos thing? It's competing all the time. Really, and I think if I just touch the subject of competition and bodybuilding, you want to be in shape year round. And if you let your mind go and you say, okay, now I have an off season and I can relax and eat whatever, you're going to get out of shape. So this kept the pressure, and I competed successfully throughout the 90s and up to 2003, always making progress, So I don't believe in this off season. Just
taking
word off. Off turns me off. Yeah, it's, you have to always be on top of everything, and you can grow as you're dieting if you do it correctly.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Milos. And first and foremost, I just want to say thank you again for being here.
Yeah.
I know you're always traveling. You have a busy, hectic schedule. And so before we lead to where we are today, let's take it back just a little bit.
Yes.
I really want to touch base on the immigrant mentality of the transition and the move from Serbia to the United States. How was that, and what made you want to move here to begin with?
Well, that's probably interesting. So that's 1987, so a long, long time ago. I'm basically a kid from academic parents. They were doctors, and my sister was also pursuing medicine. Now she's a laparoscopic surgeon and professor at Medical University, and I was studying nutritional technology at the time. But throughout my childhood, I started doing first different sports, karate, then judo. And in judo for 8 years, I got in touch with somebody that was lifting weights. And for the first time, I've seen the magazines and somebody like Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sergio Lima, so that was really unthinkable. My socialistic country of Yugoslavia, actually communistic at the time, it was very close and it was incomprehensible that somebody actually can lift weights and look like this. That was like cartoon character type of physique. So I remember very well. I was a teenager, and I see like, hold on a second. a man's physique can look like that, right? This is back in 1980s.
It was pretty rare, right, at that time?
Especially in my country, So once I saw that, like, oh my God, what they're doing, and the same day I decided, okay, I'm going to start bodybuilding. I want to look like that. So of course there was no magazines, there was no literature, there was no really books about exercise physiology, sports nutrition, anything in Serbia. So I did it all by myself, making mistakes along the way. But I was fortunate enough to have a brilliant father who was Dr. Science of neuropsychiatry.
Wow.
Super intelligent, and he was actually testing me. When he realized that I want to do the bodybuilding.
So he was supportive, 100%?
No, he wasn't supportive. I tell you this because as a psychiatrist back in the day, he didn't like bodybuilding. He thought it was very narcissistic sport. Like he would be all into yourself. And he goes, men should not look in the mirror unless they're shaving or combing their hair.
That's a good point.
I never did it for any other reason, but for competitive reasons. And I mentioned this a few times, and Jay and here the ladies, I don't know what you think of the muscular man, but I can assure you that any man anywhere on this earth, if they can choose to have a skinny body or fat or muscular body,
they would choose muscle.
Everybody will. It's just don't be a fox and say the grapes are sour because you can't reach them. But anybody would want. So maybe not at the level of professional bodybuilder,
of course,
but some kind of muscularity, because that's what exemplifies masculinity and manhood and
Absolutely.
strength. So once I realized that this is possible, I already made up my mind. I am going to, win Mr. Universe. I'm going to compete, whatever I'm supposed to. And at the time, I was still in a college, university, and I said, okay, now I entered the European Championship, and I placed second. And the President of the Federation actually invited me for Mr. Universe. It was 1987 in Arizona, in Tucson, Arizona. And as I got the invitation, now I had a probability to maybe get the visa for United States, because it's impossible to get the visa.
And how old were you then?
I was 23.
23, okay.
So to make long story short, I did decide to come, and I know that my parents would not support that I would have to first finish my university, get a diploma of engineer of nutrition and technology, and then I could decide what I want to do. But for me, there was always nobody decides my life. I appreciate my parents would want always the best, right?
Of course.
So they would like you to educate yourself and, have some diploma and then probably some kind of future. But I decided, no, I want to pursue this kind of career. And I actually got the visa. I purchased a ticket. And that's when I informed them that, look, I'm going to go for Mr. Universe in Arizona, and I plan to stay. So this was mentality from the very beginning. And why did I come to the United States? Because obviously in California there was a center of bodybuilding. There was Joe Weider, father of bodybuilding, that invited Arnold Schwarzenegger and other guys, organized Mr. Olympia contest. And this is probably important because you want me to communicate to your audience. I made a very clear goal, and back in those times, I didn't read the books like Millionaire Mind or Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill or something. No, it was just something that I actually also got it from my father, who always said, you can achieve anything. You set your goals right, and then do everything possible to reach that goal. So if you have to educate yourself, surround yourself with some people, learn from them, work this, hard and be disciplined. So I made a 5-year plan when I was coming, and 5-year plan was to win Mr. Universe, to turn IFBB Professional, to qualify for Mr. Olympia, which is the most prestigious contest in the world, and to make living off of bodybuilding. And all that I accomplished in 4 years instead.
That is amazing.
But a few things that when I talk to people, when I was in Melbourne, Australia, talking to somebody about it, I had zero doubts that this is going to happen. I didn't speak English. I didn't know nobody. I had like, they also say every immigrant knows exactly how much money they have.
Yeah.
I had $428.10.
Wait, 428?
Yeah, that's my whole money that I came to make a living in the United States.
So
yeah.
every penny was accounted for.
Yeah, yes. But you see, again, when we talk about it, and I try to instruct somebody or encourage them, this is like, why didn't you doubt? And I think back, and doubt was not the option. It was a goal. And if you have a goal, there is a light there, and you go towards the light. Mm-hmm. And there is no deviation. Okay, you have obstacles, but okay, whatever is on your way, you push your way, you go towards the light. And like I said, instead of 5 years, I accomplished everything in 4.
So you cut your time in half. That is
not half, 1 year.
4 years. So did you ever feel that you had high expectations to live off of, considering that your parents and your sister were doctors?
Yes. I should maybe be considered like black sheep of the family because mm-hmm. I didn't follow their footsteps. And I always appreciate when people have their own opinion what anybody should accomplish. Of course. But we all have our own minds, and I chose my path. And I told my parents, you raised me correctly, you wished me the best. But I look back, if I would pursue what they wanted me to do, I would be stuck in my socialistic country that I could maybe earn like $300-400 a month as an average income, and basically spend a life on just counting the days, not making days count.
Not fulfilled.
No, not fulfilled. Yeah. So I understand this. There are some trailblazers and there are leaders. It's very easy to follow. You have the road, you just follow, and it's very hard to make your own path and make the new road. So for me, it was always that I would never like to follow. Mm-hmm. I'm my own person. And whatever is in my mind, I'm going to set my mind to it, and I'm going to accomplish it or go towards that goal. Not follow, not listen, not accept what was served to me.
Accept what society expects.
Yes.
Especially at that time, I could imagine traditional, education being a priority, a must, because they look back and they say, well, you don't have an education, you don't have a degree, you're not going to make it.
Yes. And when you look at from different aspects, maybe that's not wrong way to think about it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would always want an education.
Absolutely.
And then, once you educate yourself, you can choose what you're going to do. But as you know by now, there is a lot of very successful people that never finish the schools. Mm-hmm. And, they have the passion and they have the belief. So the saying, believe in you'll achieve, it is huge.
It's very powerful.
Yeah, it's very powerful. And it's said a million times, but... the
law of attraction.
The law of attraction, yeah. I mean, if you don't see it, there was many times that I had competitors coming to my gym, and I would tell them, okay, you can be on Mr. Olympia, and they would say, I can never make it to the Mr. Olympia. And right away, I would tell them, okay, there is the door, and you can leave. I don't want to train you.
That's where it starts.
Yes, if you don't have in your mind, I believe in you, and you don't, I'm not going to train you. So for everybody that's listening here and is maybe into bodybuilding, I made it to the Olympia 10 consecutive years in 1990s, which was hardest era of bodybuilding. I'm not physically superior to anybody. I mean, flesh and blood. Back in the day when I was leaving Serbia or Yugoslavia at the time, I didn't tell you that, everybody was making fun of me. When I told them finally, look, I'm going to go to America, I'm going to compete in Mr. Universe, I was like laughing stock of the nation. It's like, what are you going to do? You have zero chance.
Really?
You have... because nobody in my country...
It was rare, right?
Yeah, they never placed like top 15 in the European Championships or, But so let me just understand. So you want to let me know to my face that I'm an inferior human being, that I cannot accomplish what somebody else did? And that's why I'm saying to everybody that I train, I'm no better than you. I just did everything that it took to reach that level, yes. Whatever you put your mind to it, and if you have a discipline and believe, you're going to achieve.
That actually reminds me of an interview that you did. I believe it was back in, 97, when you told yourself it was your 48th show when you said, I believe that I can do it. And you talk about the winner's mentality. Can you take us back to that? And for our audience that is watching, how can one obtain that? And what advice can you give in regards to that?
Jay, that's amazing. You're actually 100% correct. That was 48 shows. So imagine I competed 47 times before that. And I competed against the best people in the world. And I promise, again, for whatever reason, I was just like being realistic. I cannot beat these guys, so I was always going to just do my best, but I didn't have that winner's mentality. And then in that 48 show in Canada, even though there was a couple of good guys, I started believing it. Yeah,
like I can do it.
Yeah, I can do it. And there's also, part about the judging, so it's going to be more international judges there, so maybe I would have a chance. But I fully believed it. And, like wholeheartedly, even so that I had an interview in Flex magazine, and I told Peter McGough, I'm going there to win. And I went there and I won it.
How did you feel?
Yeah, it was fulfilled, and it's really, now when you say, I should say something to people to get that. I'm guilty of, very next week, I was going to Night of the Champions competition in America just a week later with the same guys competing. But I started again thinking of this, there's going to be politics, they're not going to let me win and all that. So, my mind drifted again into this doubt. And,
the fear, the insecurity, right?
And that's exactly what happened. So, by the end of career, when I looked back and honestly, sincerely had to express, I only believed I was going to win at that one show. And that's why when I start training people, and I tell them, winner's mentality means so much. Sometimes people would think that people are cocky and arrogant, and I don't like arrogance, but confidence is very important. And when you have a confidence and mentality that you know that you are good enough, you can win, or you can achieve anything, that can happen. So my fault back in the day was that I competed, if you follow bodybuilding, in 1990s with Flex Wheeler, Sean Ray, Kevin Levroni, Dorian Yates, Nasser Al-Sambadi,
the legends,
Paul Dillette, Chris Cormier, Ronnie Coleman. I mean, list goes on. So I was just, in one way, respecting these gentlemen and saying these are the top bodybuilders in the world, right? And I'm self-critical and say, okay, they have a better arms, they have the better back, stuff like that. So if I would be a judge, sincerely, I would give them victory over myself. And therefore, maybe I switch my mind into not believing that I can beat them.
Wow, that's powerful. And thank you so much about the winner's mentality. For any of you guys that are watching, I'm going to list, exactly what he said and list out your top, on ways how to get that winner's mentality for you guys. But you heard it first. Like, he felt the same exact way, those insecure, those self-doubts. But you have to it has to start with your mind first. And when it starts there, anything can happen. Absolutely. You see it, you can believe it.
Absolutely.
And you are living proof of that.
I'm living proof of it. And this is why maybe you get me as an example, as I did have a winner's mentality, but I actually didn't. I had a mentality that I can achieve everything and be in the top. And if you remember when I set my goals, my goal was never to win Mr. Olympia. And I never really said this is a goal because I wanted to compete at Olympia, being among the best. Now I maybe regretted that I didn't also set that as a goal and possibly work a little harder to achieve it. Because in my career, I'm proud to say I managed to beat like 4 different Mr. Olympias, like Ronnie Coleman and Dexter Jackson and Jay Cutler and Samir. Okay, not at their best, but again, those are the guys that made it to the Olympia. So with the hard work, dedication, and belief, they achieved something I didn't.
That's powerful. Thank you for sharing, Milos. When would you say your pivotal moment and your breakthrough was? So
I tell you that coming to Mr. Universe '87 on my own, not knowing anybody, not speaking English, not having any future in front of me, and not play. I placed 6th at that show in 1987. And so, okay, I'm going to just have to work harder. I don't know if it's right to say on this podcast, but 1987 I was actually natural competitor. So then 1988 I decided, okay, to compete at that level I had to do certain things to be competitive. And I placed third, and then 1989 I won. When I won, gave me the chance to turn IFBB Professional, and the pivotal moment of my career was my very first pro show, because also being realistic, being a small kid from Yugoslavia, I was going to compete against my idols. There was John Brown, who was in 1983 guest poser in Serbia, and I remember that was the reason why I actually decided I really want to pursue bodybuilding at the professional level. He was guest posing in Novi Sad, the city I was born. There was like 7,000 people, and there was grandfathers that were jumping off the chairs. They couldn't believe performance that he had and the physique that he had. So in my first pro show, I actually competed against my idol. And I was standing right next to Albert Beckless, who was second in Mr. Olympia. He was competing with Arnold back in the day. And then I was next to Tim Belknap, who won world championship in my country, Yugoslavia, back in 1985. So there are all these people that, I kind of idolized.
Yeah.
And I was kind of happy to be there just to compete, not paying attention really to the announcer. Because I don't know if you've seen on the bodybuilding show, they actually call several people for comparison. And they called me for the first comparison, but they didn't pronounce my name correctly, right? First time, second time, third time. And finally, Ben D'Amelia, president, chairman at the time, he was like screaming on the microphone, competitor number 5. And I realized it was me. And I got that first call out, and I won symmetry round against all the guys. I placed top 3.
Wow.
I placed third, which qualified me for Mr. Olympia. So right that moment was that pivotal moment that I actually made it. On my first pro show, I placed behind Ron Love and Sonny Schmidt, beating Albert and Tim Belknap and Franco Centuriel, John Brown. So I was like, oh my God. And
did it finally feel real to you?
That was that moment, that sense of accomplishment, like, oh my God, I actually made it. And that was the first Olympia I qualified for, and I said I'm going to qualify for every single one of them. And a lot of people don't know the history of bodybuilding, but only Sean Ray and myself qualified for all the Olympiads in the 90s, from 91 to 2000. Yeah, so
that's amazing.
Probably nobody paid attention to this.
Amazing.
A few other guys started in 92, 93. But yeah, I qualified 10 consecutive years against the toughest lineup. And to qualify for Mr. Olympia, for people that don't know the rules, you have to be top 3 in some of the professional shows, which was very hard task considering how many guys were at the top level at the time.
So I know in the beginning of the interview, you talk about being physically fit year round, no days off, right?
Yes.
So on your pivotal moment when you realize, holy crap, I made it. I'm finally here, right? When you made that decision that you were going to start competing and you were just going to go full ham with it, what were your daily rituals and your disciplines? What were your routines that you knew, okay, in order for me to reach success, this is what I need to commit to?
So we all have to be honest to ourselves and what kind of results we want. Do we want maximal results, optimal, minimal, so-so, right? So if you are really true to yourself and say, I want to be, doing maximally what I can at the level of training. So I have to see what would be like maximal stimulation of maximum amount of muscle fibers, of muscle group that you're training each time when you step in the gym. What maximal nutrition had to follow that routine. Timing of the nutrients, nutritional supplements, rest. You have to do everything possible to achieve that physical superiority. You have to stimulate and then feed it. So if I would have certain days that I would, this day I'm going to back off, deload. Today I'm not going to keep the diet. I'm going to, I was thinking the other guys are not going to do it. The other guys are doing it right now. So if I have to be competitive, you just have to do it. There was no ifs or buts about it. I kept the daily journals for 15 years, from 1987 to 2003, actually. I had every single meal, every gram of protein, carbohydrates, and fat, calories, to
the T.
Handwritten, yeah. And it was always pre-planned for the next day and the next week and the next month. And there was, like I said, like a soldier, it's not, okay, maybe I'll do it, or I'm going to try harder, or I'm going to try harder.
Maybe Monday, or maybe Tuesday.
Yeah, it was set in stone, and I had to do it. So I averaged 550 workouts a year.
Wow.
That's a weightlifting training, plus cardio on top of that. So that would be like 11 workouts a week, just for those people that now when they come to me, oh, Milos, it's, overtraining. I don't want to train, 2 times a day. And it's always, some complaints. Nobody nowadays really train that hard. They're always looking for excuses. They're trying to find anything. Okay, I need to deload, periodize. I need to, have some time off. I need to, really. Did you ever try to push it to the highest level, day in, day out for numerous years and never stop? I didn't stop for 15 years. And I like to mention this example because it's real, because a lot of people that come to my seminars, and they always come with this, that's overtraining. You can't go 100% day in, day out. I say, really? Did you ever try it? So...
and you're living proof you did it for 15 years.
I'm living proof, yes. And a human body adapts to anything. You can adapt to the higher level of adaptation or to lower. So if you want to stay home and believe that you're overtraining, go ahead. I wasn't. I was going to train that much harder. And I made improvements from 1987 until 2003 when I stopped competing. I was progressively getting better with that mentality. So be honest with yourself. Are you maximizing everything? Can you do a little bit more? I mean, all the people that are watching, maybe you're not into bodybuilding, but maybe it's a different sport or a different area, musicians or artists, anything, right? Are you maximizing everything? And then are you honest to yourself? One of the also daily rituals I did back in the day, that was introspection at the nighttime, right? You ask yourself, are you proud of yourself? Did you do what you're supposed to today? Or did you say something? Did you do something that you shouldn't have? So that way you can correct it. And next day, when it's a moment of truth again,
you hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, I didn't train so hard, or these kind of things. So it's just self accountability. You have to be accountable. You set the goals, and then if you're gonna be weak and say today is day off, and today I feel sorry for myself, and today I'm gonna feel, for somebody, and I'm gonna give them my time, and I'm gonna get off my track. You can't. At the highest level, to create the highest achievements, you have to be always self-centered and disciplined and moving forward in the direction you're supposed to be going.
So knowing what you know now, what would you say your top 3 tools and strategies for success are?
Top 3 tools? Honesty, self-evaluation, right? And setting the goals. Arnold said it the best. If you don't have a goal, you're going to just drift around. You don't know where you're going. You don't have a destination. You're never going to get there.
You're literally going to be on a boat in the middle of the ocean with no direction.
Yes. So this is it now. Of course, a lot of people have goals of monetary issue, like they want to just make as much money, or certain things. It doesn't matter what drives you, but happiness, health, and happiness are 2 of the most important things in life, I think. And I've seen a lot of miserable billionaires, and a lot of inspiring, happiest people that have hardly anything, but they are happy with their achievements and reaching the goals, whatever that goal might be.
That is
Yeah.
deep. I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah.
I before, with the whole podcast, it was the same thing. It was all about what society wants from you, but it's more, you have to follow what you truly feel inside.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, like you said, with your mom, with your parents, they reached the top of their success, right?
Yeah.
But if you would have followed them, you would have been miserable. You would have been unhappy.
You would be follower. Even if you follow your parents, you would be a follower, not a leader. I mean, people have to define this. Right now, there's millions of people, they're living day in, day out without actual goal, feeling self-pity or not being motivated, not realizing that, hey, today is a new day. You can turn the page and do something completely different. Set your goals and achieve them. Yeah, the first step that you make, maybe you're not going to go too far. Okay, and maybe you're going to fall 10 times and reach the obstacles, and then you're going to be discouraged. 11th step was going to be the one that you make it, and you're going to stop at 10. I mean, so as long as you don't quit, you are always a leader and a winner.
Absolutely.
And this is how I see it.
Absolutely. So I know you also do contest preparation, right? For athletes as well as Olympic gold medalists?
Well, a lot of people don't know that part of my career. I don't train as a bodybuilder, but I was doing also strength training and advised a lot of athletes back in the day, from NFL and track and field stars, Olympic medalists. I was even involved in Project World Record back in the day.
I heard about that. Can we talk about that a little bit?
Yes, you can. I mean, I have no secrets. Victor Conti is a good friend of mine. Back in the day, we communicated quite often, and I, advised him many times about certain things that bodybuilders would do, and nutritionally, supplementally. He was inventor of ZMA, which is zinc, magnesium, monomethyl aspartate. That was his specific formula. It's mineral formula that was allowed to be used. It has some anabolic properties. But every advice I was giving him, he was applying to certain athletes that were getting better results. He says, "Oh my God, Milos, we can break the world record." I said, "Sure. Records had to be broken, right?"
Right,
For me, it was always,
yeah.
if you want to maximize it, really. So this is what I was saying. So he said, "Are you interested for a world record?" I say, "Yeah, I would be interested for the hardest world record." So what would that be? And at the time, there was the fastest man alive. So then you consider what you need to, put everything into the creating fastest man alive. And we created a team, and there was a special meeting. There was 5 of us. And I can say some names. Charlie Francis, he was phenomenal sprinting coach. He was Ben Johnson's coach at the time. He's just a genius as far as sprinting. I was there as a strength and a nutritional coach, yes. And we picked at the time Tim Montgomery, who wasn't really prospect to win and break the world record. So that was more challenging, because if it's somebody about to break it, you don't know that if you influence and you made a difference. But to make long story short, he broke the record within the 9 months.
Wow.
So that was
a huge accomplishment.
Yeah, it's a huge accomplishment, yes. But that was not really my forte. My thing was more about hypertrophy and bodybuilders. So up until this moment, I probably trained over 100 IFBB pros.
Wow.
And I some top professionals. Many times I actually helped them beat me in a contest. There was a few times that I prepared the guys that we would compete in the same show. And many didn't want to hire me while I was still competing, because
competition?
Yeah, they would think that I would purposely fail them. And for me, whoever knows my personality, it's what you see is what you get. I'm going to be real, and whatever I tell you today, you can wake me up 3 o'clock in the morning, and a month from now and a year from now, I'm going to tell you the same thing. Because if I believe something and I'm going to choose to share with you and advise you, my advice is going to be always about maximizing everything. So aspect of training has to be specific, and nutrition. So I managed to show to many bodybuilders they're not eating enough. They're not having enough protein in their intake. They're not timing the nutrients correctly. They don't consider their caloric intake, what would be recommended, what is just suggested. So each day is different. My diets would not be a 24-hour diet. It would actually be 3-hour diet up until your next meal, depending on your activity and goals. So this is what I did for myself for 20-something years. And when I applied to my clients, it would be the same concept. Of course, it would be different kind of foods. Now if you touch a subject, just to be a little bit more particular, there are a lot of people that follow ketogenic type of diet now. They stay away from carbs. There's vegetarian.
Yeah. I was going to ask you that. Do you have any vegan clients that don't eat meat or fish?
Yeah, I had actually even professional from India. There was a vegan, but he would still have he was ovo-lacto vegetarian, so he could have a dairy products and eggs.
Was it a little more challenging?
Yeah, it's very much more challenging, and I know I'm going to step the foot on some people, but that movie that was released, Game Changer, it's borderline comical. I mean, I'm sorry to insult anybody, but I always said vegetarians would be, it's perfect diet as long as you put a couple of pounds of meat to it, so that selectively presented something bombastically to scare people, but the truth is exactly the opposite, so you
gotta check that one out.
Yeah, if you haven't seen it.
I've heard of it, but I haven't had the time to check it out.
The problem is that one of my heroes, tennis player from Serbia, Djokovic, Novak Djokovic is behind it. Arnold Schwarzenegger is behind it, right? So the people that I love and appreciate.
Admire.
Yeah. And I know that Djokovic is following that kind of diet, and he even suggested to Serbian government to implement that in schools.
Oh,
and say,
no.
For the love of God, no.
You're like, I left at the perfect timing.
Yes, but even Arnold stating this, I'm going to go on the record with this. Arnold is having just as much steak as I do, on a weekly basis, but he supported the film, and sometimes you have to be politically correct and say what was expected.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Absolutely. Okay. So speaking in regards to your coaching and advising, when you first take on clients, how do you test them mentally? I mean, because I know you said earlier that there be some that don't have the mindset.
Yeah. You see, that's how mentality is the most important for any contest prep in any show. So of course, when they come to me, I explain I don't want to babysit anyone, and I don't want to be just there. And if they're not serious to improve, I'm not interested.
You're going to waste your time.
Yes. And there are checkups. So of course, inspect what you expect. I would set them on a certain plan, which would be mentally and physically challenging, and I would expect them to follow. When I would train them right away, doesn't matter what level of fitness you have. I'm going to push you through the workout. You witnessed today, I trained Jennifer Ward.
It was intense.
Okay. She is 12 days out of the competition, having a 0 carbohydrates, no energy. And I went back to back to back. We hit a giant sets for back and for quads, which is probably the hardest combination. And I didn't back off. Of course, I trained Jen for a couple of years now, so I know her inside and out. I know what I can expect from her. But the new client, if you come in with
you don't go light on new clients.
No, never go light. I mean, not light in light weights, but as far as intensity. If you hire me, you want a maximum results. So even though you didn't train at my level before, I'm going to expose you in my first workout what I expect from you, and I'm going to just bomb you. Now, you're going to probably feel like truck ran over you, but...
Or feel like Gumby afterwards.
Yeah, but you survive the workout, and then you realize, like, oh my God, maybe I didn't push myself hard enough. And that's what I have with most of my clients. They realize, oh, I didn't realize I can go harder. I say, come on. I mean, this is that moment when I said that everybody is in that fog of not having high expectations. whatever you do, and no matter how excellent it is, can you do it better? Okay, if you already did it today at that level, next day you can certainly do something a little bit better, and then build on it, and next thing you know, you're on the top of the mountain.
Man, that's tough. So what would you say separates you from all other trainers and coaches out there today?
I don't know if, I'm better or, the separate. I just have my style, and I'm always honest to, like I said, you already know what kind of trainer I am. I would expect you to maximize everything. I would not let you go easy on a workout. I would not ease up on your diet and tell you, okay, you can have a whatever cheat meal, or you can have a, no, it would be defined. I know your basic metabolic rate, the thermic effect of exercise. I know if you're going to train once or twice, you're going to do the cardio, we're going to add up those calories. I'm going to calculate how many you need. We're going to set up the plan, and then we're going to, follow each and every day. In a couple of weeks, we're going to evaluate if you're going in the right direction, right? Okay, beautiful. What can I still improve? Each workout would be more intense than previous. And I was, my mind digressed. I think I started talking about somebody, Japanese bodybuilder, Hidatari Yamagishi. We had a basically plan to put him on Olympia stage within a year. And at that 1 year, I had to really, there was time limit to 2007 Olympia. He had to qualify. And this is when I started, going to crazy workouts twice a day, 6 days a week. And I said, I'm going to watch, and we're going to back off when needed. He didn't need to back off for a full year. I mean, a full year. So this is why I want to tell to everybody that, no, you have to follow, because I read this periodization plan. You have a, intensification, accumulation, blah, blah, blah. No, for me it's always maximization. This is the only thing. Oh, do you really need to back off? And I would say overtraining. I was literally saying this for many years. There's no such a thing as overtraining. It's under eating, under sleeping, right? You have two different aspects. Once you're in a gym, you are there, to fight for your life. As soon as you put the foot out of the gym, now you do everything possible to relax, recuperate, refeed, sleep as much as you can and stuff like that. But there is no overtraining and overdoing something.
But you still need that self-discipline. So I know you mentioned earlier, for 15 years, you kept the same routine, right? So now that you're not competing, what does your routine look like?
Yeah, I'm not competitive bodybuilder. I cannot expect for me to do the same thing that I did before, because believe it or not, body is not designed for being pounded twice a day for 30 years, right? So I do have a normal wears and tears, joints, ligaments, tendons, right? This is how it is. So at this stage of my life, I'm not a competitive bodybuilder, so I don't need to eat my 550 grams of protein a day. But I am still training. You asked me how many times, 6 days a week, and I follow the healthy nutrition, because I want that longevity.
It's embedded in you, right?
Yeah, it is. Because again, I cannot lie to myself. Of course, if I want to have a pizza or whatever, a cheat meal.
You still have cheat meals?
Yeah, I mean, I do. It's not a planned cheat meal, but if really you feel like it, there's a moment I would.
Of course.
But I would tell you, certainly, I would much rather enjoy a higher calorie meal that is good nutrition than something that can create some inflammation and just like miserable feeling afterwards. So I choose healthy rather than just cheat meals.
I know on social media there was a picture going around where I guess people were asking like if you still look the same shape that you did before. And I'm like, dang, I saw that picture, remember? And I'm like, you still look great for being your age and how many years later? So I commend you. I really commend you.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, that was also one of the things. That there was a moment in my life when I had some hardships and went through nasty divorce and everything else. Then I backed off from everything. I self-sabotaged myself. A lot of people can do that. You feel maybe self-pity and then you lose that motivation, and it's very easy to slip. So I didn't train. I ate whatever, and there was exactly this. You're choosing to eat exactly the opposite of what I supposed to. I don't know why. It's the human stupidity that self-sabotaging yourself, purposely doing something that is wrong, and a lot of people do that. And I have a lot of intelligent people coming to me and say, "Oh, I know I'm doing it wrong," right? And right there, it's like our conversation is over. Focus on what you just said. Okay, I know I'm doing it. Are you going to do the right thing? So for me, it was the same thing after like 3 years of being just miserable and, feeling sorry for myself and, oh my God, I lost everything and this and that. And I lost my shape, lost my health. I said, okay, you know how to get there and you're going to get there. So I made a commitment to get back in shape and I did. And everybody can. Was
it hard for you, like the bounce back? Especially overcoming that negative mindset.
Yeah, it was just, this is why I say people allow that fog to come in and you don't answer your own questions. I stopped introspecting. If I would introspect myself, what did I do today? I ate shit, excuse my language. Should I stop eating shit? Yes. Why don't you? I didn't, because the next day I have to answer the same question, right? So you prolong it and you fool yourself. And a lot of us do that. Fool yourself for quite a bit of time until it's, oh my God, 30 years later, snap out of it. I could have done all these things in this time.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
So for me, that was fortunate, just like maybe 3 years of being on hold and being off, disconnecting my brain.
On autopilot, right?
Yeah, it was just cruising, like you said. And I think that a lot of people nowadays are cruising. They're just comfortably living from morning till night to the next day without the goals, without the plans, envying some other people that are more successful. For me, anybody's success is exciting. I mean, there's nothing, better. I mean, I said the other day, somebody was crying, and I said, when somebody cries, it makes me cry always, whether it's from a happiness, because if they cry from a happiness, that's extreme. Oh my God. So I would find myself a cry for them, right? Because I'm happy, so I can't hide the emotions. And then when true sadness and pain, that's another, emotion that you have to sympathize with them. But a lot of people nowadays just need to step out of it. Everything is possible. You're not inferior. Your cards are not dealt the best way. Okay, you're maybe not born into a rich family. You can make, all the riches that you want. Set your mind to it and make a plan. It's going to happen.
I mean, you moved from a foreign country with over $400 in your pocket. It's possible.
It is. And I know much more successful stories than mine. But I would tell you the truth. There was also a moment for me when I was making probably more money than I ever expected. I kind of felt guilty because my family and my countrymen cannot make the same thing. So I would put in perspective, my sister is a laparoscopic surgeon. She performs like 20 plus surgeries a month. She also works overtime in a hospital. She's forensic expert in a court, medical expert. She's professor in university. I mean, working day and night.
Breaking her back, basically.
Yeah, and she would make less than $1,000 a month. Right?
Wow.
So then I would have a consultation for 2 hours and I make the same amount of money, and I would feel guilty, right? At the same time, I know that some other people that are not even at my level would charge more. So that's all, kind of irrelevant. But you have to feel comfortable with yourself first.
Absolutely.
And all the people, they have hardships nowadays.
We're all human at the end of the day.
Yeah, human. Yeah, set your goals. Believe it. It's going to happen.
I love that. He reminded me of Conor McGregor for a minute. So, Milos, how do you intend to leave a legacy?
Yeah. Well, you see, I influence a lot of people so far, and I've just seen recently on YouTube somebody put a little video, and it was like, Milos, one of the most influential people in the industry. Then one that, changed what I pioneered intake of nutritional supplements into a workout that was never done before. So there was one thing that when I mentioned my father, I accepted from him. If you have a time, I can tell you this is my hyperemia advantage theory. But I influenced that. I started, and now every supplement company in the world have an intra-workout nutrition. Every bodybuilder and many other athletes, drinking intra-workout supplementation as I influence them. My training style that I do, I get constantly people from all over the world, sending me their videos of doing my giant sets, my type of training that I do. So my legacy would be that I was just my own mind, not following, leading. And with my leadership, I set some training techniques, nutritional techniques, use of some pharmaceuticals as well, because I'm also known for bringing some insulin intake into the sports. So this is sufficient for me. I mean, unfortunately, I didn't win Mr. Olympia, and I cannot be looked at Mr. Olympia, but I achieved it in 1990s. I was considered one of the top 10 in the world, which, for me is the greatest accomplishment. And this is accomplishment and goal that I set for me. Like I told you, I didn't set the goal to be Mr. Olympia, which sometimes I do regret, because I think if I did have that mindset, it would be probably different.
Of course.
And you mentioned now Conor McGregor, who is more colorful personality than him. And I watch all his videos from back then when he wasn't even in UFC. He was so strongly believing that he can accomplish this. Yes,
it was all here.
It's all there, and he's a prime example. So follow his footsteps.
Absolutely, I love Conor McGregor, and actually, it was his videos that got me into the book, The Secret.
Yeah. And
it was just the law of attraction. If you think it, you can believe it. You have to have the power enough to speak it.
Yes.
And it's that simple.
Yes.
It's that simple.
It manifests. But, a lot of people are afraid to speak it and hear themselves saying, really. I don't know if you have some people that are trouble right now. There was many times when I confront them and say the word, and they can't say it. Why can't you? So the first thing really, it's like almost some kind of blockage that they want to feel like, I'm not worthy. I'm not at that level. I cannot accomplish this. And why? So that mentality. I feel for these people. I'm not a psychiatrist knowing how to overcome it, because sometimes, depression,
of course,
and anxiety, and it's much more complex at the physiological level. So you have to be an expert. But simple thing, from day to day, just believe it.
You guys heard it first. Believe it, speak it, and it will be yours. So Milos, here at the Unbreakables, we do this card deck. I'm not asking you, the deck is asking you. So you get to choose 2 cards and read which. Okay. There's one.
Okay. One more?
One more, yeah.
Okay. I'm not looking.
Okay.
I hope I didn't pick something wrong.
First card.
Okay. What does the world need more of?
Ooh, that's a powerful question.
Love. There's no question. I mean, really, I don't understand all this miserable, evil,
this hate.
Yeah, hating people, envying others, wanting to take. I see here, change the world, right? And I said in the beginning, if you want to change the world, start from yourself. What do you want to see? You want to see friendship, loyalty, support, love. Start with yourself. I mean, this is what it is. So there's no more powerful thing than love. And love as a human being, as a person, as your, friend, father, mother. This is what it comes to. Do every day something, right? And this is how I was taught by my parents. In my country, I could not pass by a stranger and not say hello, smile, and try to make him comfortable and make him smile, right? That was a must. That's how I grew up. It
was human nature.
It's human nature, yeah. And your neighbors and your friends, we were helping each other, doing anything, physical. You're building the house, so there's 10 of us that are going to build the house with you for a couple of years. We're going to help you honestly, sincerely, because we want to help you and support you and showing our love. It's not so much of that nowadays. People.
And it's not that hard. It's free.
It's not that hard.
It's free.
It just start today with, okay, what can I do to make her smile today? And something that is going to make her feel good. That's how you start. And then you build on it. So
I love that. That's
a
great question.
The correct answer for this would be love. What are you working on achieving right now?
I was just going to ask you what is next, but there you go.
Okay, what is... So, in a moment of honesty, also, I got a little bit too comfortable because for like 7 years, from 2010 until 2017, I was in the United States. And then I came back, and I got busy with my work, and I didn't really set up higher goals. My goals are actually to rebuild my supplement company, my gym. There was Colosseum Gym back in the day. There was like Mecca Bodybuilding, and get much at a high level of social media, YouTube, possibly one day.
We
podcasting.
got you, Milos.
Yeah, so these are kind of things that also I put a little bit on the back burner. But when you're comfortable with the situation, you also get to sidetrack a little bit. Yeah.
Man, those were good questions, and thank you so much for your responses.
You're welcome.
Again, Milos, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love this episode, and I feel like you provided a lot of value, and you brought just so much tools and strategies that I know everybody that's watching will be able to apply it not only to their fitness, but their mental, their lifestyle. And that's what we're about. So if you can, just tell our audience and your audience where they can contact you for any coaching.
Yes. My Instagram, it's my name, MiloSarcev, or Facebook. Now, just to build on that, if we influence somebody, and your podcast is wonderful, Unbreakables, obviously. The question is what can we see more in this world? Love and support, encouragement.
Absolutely.
So I commend you for doing this. I commend
you
you for choosing those questions. I mean, people have to understand we didn't plan this. You didn't send me the questions you're going to ask me, and this is all
organic.
Organic in a place here in the moment, just answering your questions. But I would like to encourage everybody, to believe they can set the higher goals. Really. That's what I told my daughter yesterday, and I told my friends, this is where it's at.
Thank you so much. And you guys heard it first. We'll leave his social media below. Make sure you guys subscribe. He also has a YouTube. I'll leave the links below. Make sure you guys subscribe to the Unbreakables podcast on YouTube, iTunes, and all platforms. You can find us on all social medias. Again, thank you guys from the bottom of my heart. Really, really appreciate it. And we're out. Episode 4. Thank you.
Thank you.